Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Phonax. Today we're diving into the studio update for Guild Wars 2 for August and Winter 2023. Buckle up, we're going to talk about it all, and sorry for the content drought. I have a spinal injury, it's been kicking my ass this month, but I'm back in action now. So, greetings, Tyrians. The launch of Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure has filled the skies of Tyria with sky scales. Halloween is in full swing, and we're back with another update on all things Guild Wars 2, and we're all here for it. Let's do it. Through the Veil, the first of 3 major updates to Guild Wars 2 Soto, is coming on November 7th. As you may remember from the previous update blogs and our expansion announcement, anyone who owns Guild Wars 2 Soto will have full and permanent access to all the expansion content. In Through the Veil, 3 new story chapters will pick up where the launch story concluded and continue the adventure as you take your first brave steps into a new world, Nayos, the Realm of Dreams. If you haven't gotten a chance to play yet, you've got about 2 weeks to get caught up on the story so far and get ready for the next installment. For folks who have already played the launch story or want a glimpse of it, we've put together a little refresher on some of the key moments that have led to our situation at the start of Through the Veil. I'm really looking forward to this. I don't know that I would have agreed to help the Cryptus. I've got to be real, I've watched too many people be destroyed and corrupted. We have Patha, who I think could well be, in her own right, a villain, because she's trying to save an entire reality, her world and all her people, and what moral line would you not cross to save everyone on Earth? I mean, goodness me. So, I think Patha is a bit of a red flag. I love her character. I think she's incredibly interesting. She's charismatic. I want to learn more about her, but I think that she would eat our liver with a nice Chianti. This is the image that came with the press pack. I think this speaks volumes. When I first arrived in Nayos, I had this feeling that this corruption was not representative of the realm. If this is the realm of dreams, it's probably reflecting the thoughts and ideas and cultures and histories and feelings of the people in other realms. And I think that's why the arena that we get to visit in Nayos seems so reminiscent of Echoval Forest and Kurzik culture, because it probably is the thoughts and feelings of those peoples, a reflection of a multiverse of versions perhaps of this type of architecture throughout the myths. So I think that the corruption of this realm is due to Eparch, the cannibal king, as it were, he who is consuming his own world. To think that one entity could destroy and consume and then just decide to move on. And that's why we decide to intercede, because we fear that Eparch will stop consuming and destroying his own realm and turn to us, which is the hook that Patha uses to get us on side. Personally, I mean, I would like an exorcism. Whatever link there is between us, I would like that to be severed, because I don't like the idea of her squatting in our consciousness, influencing our behavior. It's bad enough dealing with social media, let alone someone actually inside your skull. Good lord. Anyway, back to the corruption. So I think that by the end of this expansion cycle, Nayos is going to look completely different. Patha might even look different. The Cryptus themselves might look completely different. They have had eons of this monstrous king corrupting, and I think they've all twisted themselves into whatever version that he wanted them to be. So I think there's going to be lots of changes. I think we're going to be going in and maybe clearing out his influence from Nayos, as well as recruiting Cryptus to our cause. In fact, I think the whole reason that there are rifts, the Cryptus are invading, not just the Wizard's Court, not just the Astral Ward, but Tyria itself, is because of Eparch, because he was refused entry to the Wizard's Court, because he was cast out, and he is exacting his revenge. So, once we do that, I think the whole paradigm of the Astral Ward and the Court will change. I think the whole ethos and paradigm of Nayos will change completely. And I'm really looking forward to that kind of story evolution. Of course, wild speculation, could be completely wrong, probably am. Anyway, story, here for it. Moving on with the blog post. In addition to the new story chapters and the opening of the 3rd map, the Cosmic Observatory Strike Mission Challenge Mode and the Oneiros Spun Armor Set will also be released on November 7th. I think the Oneiros, I looked it up to see what it meant. Oneiros is a personification of dream, and in the plural, dreams. And this is from Greek mythology. So according to Homer, dreams dwell on the dark shores of the western Oceanus, and deceitful dreams come through an ivory gate, while the true ones issue from a gate made of horn. When I first saw the landscape of our character backdrop, it reminded me of Olympus, of the kind of golden temples of the ancient Greek mythos, and I guess I was right. They're continuing that theme, which is really cool. Anyway, just a side note. I think the Oneiros is going to be the Cryptus armor. I think it's going to look quite demonic, but could have a second state. It could have a dark and a light, an ivory and a horn state. That would be really cool. So, what was I saying? Okay, so in fact, to make it simple, here's a chart to share at launch that shows our plan for each Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure update, which is rather nice of them. This is great. So, the story goes, we got the initial arc in August. November, we're getting a continuation of the story, and then in 2024, the story will conclude. We're getting maps, so we got the Skywatch Archipelago, Amnitast, and the Wizard's Tower at launch. In November, we're getting the Inner Nayos map, and then that map will, like Jorah's Marshes, expand over the next 3 releases, concluding in 2024 at some point. And if they keep to their schedule, it'll be May time that the whole of the kind of Soto arc of Guild Wars 2 concludes. Instances. Initially, we got the Cosmic Observatory and the Temple of Phoebe. In November, we're getting a challenge mode for the Observatory, and in perhaps February time, we're getting the challenge mode for Phoebe. And then in May-ish time, we'll be getting a fractal with a challenge mode. I think that means a new fractal. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. At launch, Weapon Mastery Training unlocked unshackled elite weapons from their respective masteries, allowing players to use them in whatever build they want. And in February time, we're going to be getting new weapon proficiencies for each profession, which is going to make the theory crafters very happy indeed. Onto masteries. At launch, we got the Heart of the Obscure Research, Flight Training, and the Astral Ward. In November, we're getting Inner Nayos Mastery and further 2 mastery updates, yet to be disclosed. In terms of the Wizard's Vault, we got the introduction of this new system, and we're getting a seasonal refresh in November, and in February-ish, and in May-ish, which sounds great. Armour. So at launch, we got Rift Hunters and Astral Ward being very hard to unlock because it is the precursor armours for the legendary Obsidian armour. In November, we're getting the Oneiros Spun armour, which is the Cryptus-inspired armour set. And in February and May, the completion of the Obsidian armour for those pursuing the new legendary PvE armours. In terms of relics, at release, we got 40 relics and 12 exclusive to Secrets of the Obscure. In November, we'll be getting additional relics and legendary relics around February-ish, with more added around about May time. And finally, Rift Hunting, which was introduced in Secrets of the Obscure with 12 rotating maps. November adds Convergences with legendary enemies, completing the Rift Hunting map rotation cycle for Soto for the expansion. And in February and May, the last 2 releases of Soto, we're going to be getting new legendary enemies. Eagle-eyed observers will notice that the only real change from last time is that we've moved up some items. We previously thought we'd need to add a few additional maps to the Rift Hunting rotation with each of the releases, but we've been able to include 6 new maps to the rotation with the September 26th build. An additional 6 will be implemented with Through the Veil, completing the Rift Hunter map rotation. Onto those convergences. Get ready, Rift Hunters. We're excited to take demon hunting to a whole new level with Convergences, which are a public or squad-based foray into enemy territory. The new story will introduce you to the concept of Convergences and unlock the associated Inner Nayos mastery track. Together with fellow Rift Hunters, you'll open up a portal into the home realm of the Cryptus, where you'll need to have your weapons at the ready and your wits about you. There are no waypoints in the hostile territory you'll be striking into. It'll take coordination between players to keep yourselves and your allies alive long enough to complete your objectives and take out the legendary cryptos lurking in each convergence. The public iteration of Convergences operates on a timer, while squads can open Convergences on demand with unstable cryptos motivations acquired from Tier 1 and Tier 3 bounties. You can also earn an unstable cryptos motivation each week by participating in a convergence. I've enjoyed rift hunting. It's good fun, but I'm not one for repetition, and I have found the rifts a bit repetitive. I would have preferred in the rifts that were introduced at launch that we'd have more character model and mechanic variances. However, with these convergences, it looks like they're stepping up the game. This is the kind of final version, the capstone of this content, and I'm hopeful that it will be challenging and compelling, and it certainly sounds like they have put a level of difficulty in here if they're warning you to keep your wits about you and bring healers. And fingers crossed these legendary cryptos have much more interesting mechanics, mirroring some of the more difficult bounties. That would be cool. And these convergences, I think, in my head, I feel like they're actually more open instance strike, like Dragonstorm, which has a public version and a private version. And I like it. I'm here for it. More content is more content, and I'm going to reserve judgment, and I'm hoping that we have engaging and interesting mechanics to deal with. Onto the Wizard's Vault, or rather the Wizard's Vault refresh. Each expansion release comes with a Wizard's Vault refresh. If you're just catching up with Guild Wars 2 Soto, you can find more details on the Wizard's Vault here. It's lovely that they're actually doing all these links for people who are not in the know. This is great. New seasons bring new series of special objectives to complete for Astral Acclaim, which will all carry over, and you can then spend that Astral Acclaim on an updated roster of rewards. The upcoming season of the Wizard's Vault features an additional 3 unique armor pieces to complement the 3 pieces from the season that's about to end. The new season will also include a new infusion, a new set of weapon variants. So we've already seen these in the white gold, which matches the kind of Sunspear inspired armor set. I really like it. I've unlocked quite a few of these. The red is rather lovely. Variants and of course more. And the rewards from the inaugural season aren't going away. This release will add a legacy reward tab, actually it's already there, it's just empty, where all the exclusive cosmetic rewards from the previous season will remain, although at a slightly higher cost due to them being out of season. I can understand that they want to promote people to spend their Astral Acclaim in season, and of course there is a cap, so you have to spend it in order to not miss out on your Astral Acclaim, which I think is enough of a kind of a mechanic to push people to spend their Astral Acclaim. I don't like that there's a slightly higher cost. This is a constructed scarcity. There's no necessity for it to cost more. I don't like that. I don't think that's necessarily a good mechanic. Overall, I think that the Wizard's Vault has been brilliant success. I do feel like now, as I'm looking at my very depleted Wizard's Vault, that it might be nice to have items trickling in throughout seasons as they go, if they're going to continue the Wizard's Vault going forward in the game in different versions as the Astral Ward expands into maybe the real world of Tyria. Old Mother Hubbard's cupboard is looking bare for me, so I'm very much looking forward to November. Maybe that's part of the mechanic. Maybe the Wizard's Vault looking depleted, then it being refreshed is part of the whole gameplay loop mechanic. Onto weapons, skills, and balance. As you already read in the table above, 6 additional expansion relics will be available starting November 7th. We'll continue to expand build options available to players through additional relics, with the other 2 updates to follow. Not too long after the release of Through the Veil, you can look forward to a skill and balance update on November 28th. We'll be starting a preview of those changes plus the new relics we just mentioned this Friday, October 27th on our Twitch channel. As always, we appreciate your feedback beforehand, and we'll be watching carefully when the changes ship so we can see how things evolve. It's great that they're having a Twitch stream. It's great that they care about feedback. I love the betas that they've done. Community-based beta testing is fantastic. World of Warcraft has used it, not necessarily to great effect because they don't often listen to the feedback that they get, but they do get it. And if you look at Baldur's Gate 3, it is a storming, staggering, gigantic success built upon and contributed by their community. Endless beta testing. I did 100 hours of beta testing in that game because it was wonderful. Anyway, speaking of November 28th, this is also an important day because you will be getting your first chance to try out a new weapon on your favorite profession. Whilst this Guild Wars 2 Soto feature will launch during our second major expansion update in early 2024, we're giving all players a chance to demo the expanded weapon proficiencies early to test them and provide feedback. This special beta event will run from the time our November 28th build goes live around 9 AM Pacific time until 10 PM Pacific time on December 3rd. We'll start sharing more information about each profession's new weapon proficiencies shortly after the release of Through the Veil. Theory crafters rejoice. You're going to have lots more toys, lots more builds, lots more possibilities. Enjoy. I will look forward to perusing your work, if not participating in it. Theory crafting, not my bag. Next up is World vs. World, the least loved child of Guild Wars 2. Well, that and PvP. We'll have another blog out with more detailed information on World vs. World in a few weeks, but there are some highlights for this quarter. Okay, let's dive into it. Tentatively hopeful. In late January 2024, we'll be expanding the way you can use your guild hall to create unique gameplay experiences with a guild hall arena update, including a selector to control which game mode rules your guild arena uses. This new feature will give you the ability to set your personal game mode in the guild hall, enabling the skills and balance from player versus player and world versus world game modes. In addition, we'll also introduce options to select teams outside of the confines of the guild arena, giving you access to the entire map so you can battle your friends. Oh, this is huge. This is going to be amazing. So much emergent gameplay, building battlefields, building arenas, tournaments happening, guild versus guild tournaments. I cannot wait. This is going to be so much emergent gameplay from this. Twitch is going to be on fire with it. And just building the arenas, that sounds incredibly fun to me. Not necessarily like getting my ass kicked in PvP, but no, this sounds great. But how does this kind of work into World v World? Okay, let's carry on reading. We'll also be running another World v World Restructuring beta in early 2024. As we discussed in our last studio update with a nice link, the World v World team shifted their priority to releasing a live version of the guild-based World Restructuring system. Doing this allowed us to get consistent live data and feedback from the community to inform our continuing development and improvement. Since our last beta, we've addressed a number of issues with guild selection, queue failures, resetting issues, and more. Yeah, I did dive into that. A lot of people were in the right guild and able to talk to their fellow guildies. However, they were on the opposing side. Not the best thing for World v World. In the next beta, we'll be testing the new team builder, UI updates, and bug fixes. Assuming everything goes well with the test, we'll be able to move forward with turning the system on full time. Huzzah, rejoice! While we don't have dates for the beta or the initial release at this time, we will let you know as soon as possible to allow you the time to organize your guilds. This is great news. Would World v World players like this sooner rather than later? Yes, however, it is coming. It is arriving. It's finally happening, guys, and I'm here for it. This is the final alignment of World v World with PvE. So if you don't know, in PvE, it doesn't matter what realm you're on, as long as you're in the same region. So all EU players can play together, all US players can play together, unrestricted as to their realm. For World v World players, they're still stuck in their realms, and they're thrown into queues and matches with different groups depending on how many points they score and their group, but they're always confined to their realm. And now it's going to be guild based, and it's going to really rejig that system, change the whole landscape of World v World to make it more focused, more competitive, I would imagine. Maybe a little bit more exclusive, maybe a little bit more exclusionary, possibly, but then again, endgame World v World guilds are quite restrictive and have lots of requirements anyway now, so maybe it won't change the landscape that much. There are fortunately quite a few good World v World guilds who are casual, but it's certainly going to open up the game type, it's certainly going to make it more accessible, and oh my goodness, those guild hall changes are amazing. And what I would kindly and lovingly and respectfully say to the devs is, it is wonderful that you are using these unutilized resources in guild halls. They're amazing, fantastic, revolutionary, brought over from the original games, so they are loved right across the community. And are they not a perfect template for housing? Do you not have all the tools already built in? All that is required is maybe more servers from Amazon to spin up home instances. Please give us housing. My desperate pleas aside, let's move on. The busiest time of year except for all the other ones. Those are the major release and system updates coming soon, but there's just a little more to cover. November and December will also include more events. A week-long buff to support the extra live stream on November 3rd and 4th. I will be doing that with Jedbro and some of the Lightbringers folks, the podcast, the Guild Wars 2 podcast that I do on Fridays to raise money for Extra Life, which is a fantastic charity. I will put links below in the description and in the pinned comments so you guys can check out Extra Life. It's a fantastic charity that helps kids' hospitals and all sorts of things. It's amazing. Okay, so November. So November 3rd and 4th, and a 2-week new Hero Jumpstart event. I guess that must be for new players, and a Dungeon Rush week, which is great. I love the dungeons. I lament their passing and hope that one day they bring them back. And Winter's Day coming up on December 12th. Lunar New Year and a second skill and balance update will be coming along near the end of January 2024. Around then, or a little after, we'll be back to talk about the next few months of Guild Wars 2. Also, November through January looks something like this. Okay, so Soto continues. Continued narrative, final map introduction, Convergences and Inner Nayos Mastery, additional expansion relics, Wizards Vault seasonal refresh, new armor sets, Cosmic Observatory challenge mode. In terms of events, we have Halloween, which ends on the 7th of November. Do get in now. There's some really beautiful new armor pieces added with this season. It's great. Dive in before it finishes. Extra life enhancements and live stream, always great. Please do support. New Hero Jumpstart to help new players get into the game. Dungeon Rush, Winter's Day, and the Lunar New Year 2024. And then in terms of systems, so we've got skill balance and updates, expanded weapon proficiency beta, world restructuring beta, and Guildhall Arena update. That is a huge amount of content coming our way. I'm having a premonition and I'm seeing a lot of Guild Wars 2 gaming in my future. As a sign-off reminder, we've got 2 live streams coming. First, we'd love to have you join us this Friday at around noon Pacific time for a preview of the November 28th balance patch. Then come back on November 3rd and 4th for our 24-hour Extra Life celebration starting at noon Pacific time on Friday and running until Saturday. You can learn more about our Extra Life stream here, and I will link that link in the doobly-doo below. And you can also check out the official Guild Wars 2 channel for the latest news and updates. Happy adventuring, and we'll see you in the game. The Guild Wars 2 team. Thank you so much, guys, for a great blog post update. As ever, would I have preferred them to give all this fantastic, wonderful, bombastic information, especially about the Guildhall stuff, in a live stream? I would. However, they are going to do some live streams, and they're going to talk about all the balancing, so I can't complain too much. My thoughts overall. Soto has been great. I'm looking forward to the story continuing. I am quietly working my way through to get the PvE armor, but I don't need to rush because we've got quite a long lead lag until we can complete it sometime in mid-2024. So there's some time we can chillax and slow time getting that Astral Ward armor for everybody. I'm going to be going for the medium because I think it's the best looking medium armor I've seen in the game in a very, very long time, and it's certainly, to my eyes, the best looking legendary medium armor in the game. I'm excited to jump into these Convergences, see what the boss mechanics are like, see what challenge modes they might put into Convergences in the future. That would be fun. It does feel like a strike. It feels like a stealth strike to me that they've slipped into the game as a capstone for the Rift hunting gameplay. In my head, that's where I went. I'm looking forward to going to Nayos. I'm looking forward to exploring this new world. I am very cautious of Patha. I think that she is not a wolf in sheep's clothing, because she does look like a wolf. I just, from a logical standpoint as a character, what would you not do if the weight and the lives of every person in your reality weighed on your shoulders? We've had this choice. What moral line wouldn't we cross, you know? And I feel like at the end of this, Nayos is going to look completely different. As I said, it's going to be a landscape transformed. I think all the corruption is coming from this terrible cannibal king, and the story could be so dark and so deep. I'm wondering how far through the looking glass we're going, how Alice in Wonderland it's all going to be. I'm hoping for a very dark story, and they were talking about on one of the streams, it's like horror in the daytime is what they're going for, and I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope Nayos is not as labyrinthian as Amnitas. I find that map slightly frustrating to traverse, even with a sky scale. Trying to get through the masses of buildings which don't seem to have much purpose in a narrative context, all these areas where just monsters spawn. I feel like actually the map could have been smaller and more efficient, but hey, it's not about efficiency, it's about gameplay and immersion, and it does feel like an expansive, sprawling academy if it's a bit empty and barren. But of course it's under demon attack, so, you know, who am I to judge? Anyway, I digress, because tangents are my thing apparently when I'm doing these unscripted. Let me know what you think about the blog post in all its glory. Convergences, new Guildhall functionality, the whole kit and caboodle in the comments below. Please show some love to my wondrous patrons. I love them. They're amazing. They keep the lights on, especially being a disabled content creator. My spinal injury can flare up at any point and just take me out of the game, unfortunately, both figuratively and actually. So their support is invaluable, and I thank them for their patience, my wonderful patrons, and you guys who support me on YouTube for your patience. My content is not as frequent as I would like it to be. However, if you've enjoyed this content and you have not yet jumped into Soto, highly recommend it. It is a great romp, full of surprises and great characters and great story, great locations, and great links below to my referrals where you can buy the game and help the channel at the same time. Costs you not a penny more apart from using that link. But we have come to the very end, so until next time, please stay safe, stay awesome, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.